Nobody talks about the moment. You realize you became someone you promised you wouldn't be. Not in one big mistake, not in a single collapse, but slowly, quietly, through small compromises, small silences, small excuses. You didn't fail. You drifted. You didn't wake up one day and decide to lose yourself. You just stopped checking in, stopped asking, is this still me? Is this still what I wanted? You got busy surviving, busy adjusting, busy becoming acceptable. And one day, you looked in the mirror and felt a strange distance. Not hatred, not shock, just unfamiliarity. Like meeting someone who knows your face, but not your story. That's the part nobody prepares you for. Because movies show breakdowns. People talk about rock bottom. They talk about collapse. But they don't talk about erosion. They don't talk about what happens when pieces of you disappear. So quietly, you don't even notice they're gone. You didn't lose your dreams. You postponed them. You didn't become weak. You became tired. You didn't become fake. You became careful. Careful with your words. Careful with your opinions. Careful with your truth. Because at some point, you learned that being yourself costs something. Sometimes it costs belonging. Sometimes it costs approval. Sometimes it costs love. So you started editing yourself, softening the edges, lowering the volume, hiding the strange parts. Not because you wanted to lie, but because you wanted to stay. Stay included. Stay safe. Stay wanted. And slowly, you became really good at playing a version of yourself that works, a version that functions, a version that survives, a version that doesn't cause problems. But survival is not the same as living, and functioning is not the same as being alive. Deep down, you feel it. That quiet discomfort, that low-level ache. Not sadness, not anger. Something harder to name. Like nostalgia for a version of you that still exists, but feels far away. You remember who you used to be, not in detail, but in feeling. You remember caring more, feeling more, wanting more. You remember having ideas that scared you, dreams that felt too big, a voice that didn't apologize for existing. You didn't lose that person. You buried them, not to kill them, but to protect them. Because the world can be cruel to people who are too honest. So you put that version of yourself somewhere deep, where nothing can touch it, but nothing can grow there either. And buried things don't disappear. They wait. They wait in silence. That's why silence feels heavy. Not empty. Crowded. Full of everything you never said. Full of everything you never became. Silence is not your enemy. Silence is the room. where the real you still exists, when no one is watching, when there is no performance, no role, no image, no audience, just you. That's when it happens. That subtle moment where you realize, I don't hate my life, but I don't recognize myself in it. And that realization hurts more than failure, because failure says, I tried and it didn't work. But this says, I stopped trying to be who I was. Here's the truth. You don't need to become someone new. You don't need a new personality, a new identity, a new life. You need to remember. Remember what you cared about before you learned to be practical. Remember what made you feel alive before you learned to be realistic. Remember what you wanted before you learned to settle. This isn't about quitting your job, or moving to another country, or deleting your social media. Those are surface changes. This is deeper. It's about honesty. Small honesty. Quiet honesty. The kind nobody claps for. Admitting, this isn't enough for me. I'm not proud of this. I miss myself. No announcements. No dramatic posts. Just a private agreement between you and you. A decision to stop abandoning yourself. You won't fix everything at once. You won't suddenly feel motivated. You won't magically know the path. But you can take one step. Not toward perfection. Toward alignment. One small action that feels like you again. One honest choice. One boundary. One creative impulse. One uncomfortable truth. That's how you come back. Not with a transformation, with a return. And it won't look impressive. It will look quiet, subtle, almost invisible. But inside, something shifts. The distance shrinks. The mirror feels a little less foreign. And one day, you'll realize you didn't become who you promised you